much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good morning. It is a great pleasure that I address you today, and on behalf of the Economic Chamber of Greece, I have to thank ΑΝΑΤΟΛΙΚΗ A.E. for the invitation. And I have to say that such meetings are extremely important in periods of crisis. They give us the chance to blend our thoughts and experiences and come up with very interesting findings. So, it is well known to everyone that after the eruption of the debt crisis, Greece has embarked on an adjustment program aimed at tackling the fiscal imbalances. As a result of this effort, Greece has experienced the largest fiscal consolidation among all the other countries in the EU. Now, about the SMEs. SMEs in the Greek economy constitute the 99.9% of the total amount of businesses. The same, almost the same, happens in the EU as well, but there is a big difference. The differences are that in Greece, 87% of the workforce work in SMEs, and the value added is 75%, whereas in the EU, the same numbers are 66.8% the workforce, and the value-added share is 57%. The next slide gives us a picture of the trend analysis within the last years. As we can see, we have a negative deviation in Greece from the same EU reality. Although in the EU, the SMEs number increases in Greece from 2008 until now, the number declines. And I can give you information. Since 2008, approximately 200,000 SMEs ceased operating in Greece, and a total of about 600,000 jobs were lost. And moreover, the value added was reduced by 13 billion euros. Now, let's go to our region. Let's go to Central Macedonia. We can see some very interesting indicators of the economy here in Macedonia. The GDP per capita and the disposable income have decreased from year 2008 till 2014 almost about 30%. But as you can see, taxes did not follow the same line. Taxes only decreased -4%. It gives us a hint. We have over-taxation, and I will also explain it then. And unfortunately, the only number that increases is the unemployment rate, which from 8.6% in 2008 climbed to 27% in the year 2014. Okay. The next slide, we can see the reasons why SMEs have been downsized. The big problem, over-taxation and austerity. The extreme self-employed becomes larger. Of course, there is a lack of capital. The Greek bank system is extremely reluctant to grant loans to Greek companies, and especially SMEs, mainly because of the tight funding constraints due to the public debt crisis. This is the main reason. The rising debt to the state and also to the banks. The capital controls that have been imposed on our economy from June 2015, capital controls deteriorate the problem. Overregulation, the lower purchasing power, and red tape, the excessive bureaucracy, and the lack of coordination between the public authorities. I kept this as a case. We have a very big problem also. I called it the case of Bulgaria escape. And not only Bulgaria, but to Balkans as well. We have a massive escape of Greek SMEs in Balkans and mainly to Bulgaria in order to survive from overtaxation. Thousands of Greek SMEs and freelancers are looking for the road to financial recovery in Balkans. And these countries, for the time being, seems to be the lack of opportunity. It is true, when you have in Greece 29% corporate tax rate, for example, only 10% corporate tax rate. So it's not only, of course, a matter of taxes and a corporate tax rate. It's in the Balkans, Bulgaria particularly, the bureaucracy, the red tape is less. The registration process is easier. The tax law and the tax code is comprehensible and easy to understand. And of course, these countries are very close to our borders. I also want to give you a hint. According to figures from the Greece's embassy in Sofia, only in 2016, 3,600 Greek businesses were registered there. The Greek businesses in Bulgaria generate about 5 billion euros per year and employing around 53,000 people in Bulgaria. So, let's go to the barriers here we have to overcome. High operating cost, low competitiveness, and minimal adaptation to technological advances. These figures, in all of these figures, Greek SMEs are lower than the EU average and have a very small absorb and adaptation to use e-banking, e-pricing, and e-commerce. Also, outdated business models regarding production and marketing activities and almost not at all investment in R&D, research and development. As I just said, banks are very reluctant to grant loans to businesses. There is no competitive financial tools due to poor banking sector performance, small adaptation to global business trends, no adaptations to, or small adaptation to EU funding, either due to governmental failure or the inability of SMEs to develop the necessary business models. So, is there only the negative side? The answer is no. There is a bright side, and there is still room for development, for creation in Central Macedonia. First of all, the geographic position of the Central Macedonia. The region is a major transport corridor across North from Western and Eastern Europe to Southern Europe and the Aegean Sea. The infrastructure will have the international airport of Macedonia. Thessaloniki has the second biggest airport in Greece, and it serves almost 3.5 million passengers per year. Egnatia motorway is a huge project. This motorway increases the potential, the investment potential in transport, in industry, and in tourism as well. The European Union acknowledges the significance of Egnatia motorway, and that's why it has heavily invested on the project. And the good news is that in Central Macedonia, Egnatia motorway is fully completed as a project. We have the port of Thessaloniki, which is the largest transit trade port in the country, and it services the needs of approximately 15 million inhabitants. We have potential investments in logistics and transport due to, again, the geographical position between East and West. And something I want to say is that we have also a manufacturing and maritime tradition. So we have people skilled for the staffing of local distribution centers. In Thessaloniki, there is the Alexander Innovation Zone, which is an area reserved for the establishment of innovative business and research entities. Of course, tourism. And due to the Greek, the Mediterranean climate, we have all season, four seasonal tourism, winter tourism, and summer tourism as well. Here in Central Macedonia region, we have scenic mountains such as Olympus, you all know Olympus, but we have beautiful beaches as well, Pieria and Halkidiki. And that is the reason why Central Macedonia is Greece's most visited region and accounts for 18.2% of the total tourist flow in Greece. And of course we have universities and we have colleges in Macedonia. Thessaloniki has a very big and very active student community with more than 1 million population in Thessaloniki and 2 universities and a lot of colleges and research institutions. The city offers many interesting options for pre-graduate and postgraduate studies. And in the end, we have some policy priorities for action. Of course, we have to facilitate the access to finance to SMEs with wide use of the European funding tools. We have to do something about taxes and the great problem, the big problem, the overtaxation. We have to take some decisions and to give the tax incentives. A proposal is to give tax privileges, and I mean reduced VAT or reduced corporate tax rate for services provided or products produced in Central Macedonia in order to stop the Bulgarian problem and of course stabilize the tax framework in order to provide security for investors. Internationalization. A survey from the EU showed that the Greek companies, the procedure of export and import takes about 19 days to be completed. The same number is only 11 days in the EU average. So we have something to do to support all these export activities by enhancing co-financing programs and provide trade financing tools. Branding. By focusing on differentiation and develop premium products and services. We have to be and focus to be the best and not the cheapest. Hence, the final proposal, the final priority, innovation, connecting SMEs with the institutional and educational institutions. The research centers here in Thessaloniki provide this is a key source for innovation, and we have to take advantage.